and thank you for your kind words. As an organizing chairperson of this event, I invite all the delegates and especially the office bearers of FOXI national level to this historical city of Kannur. Thank you for gracing this occasion. And now something in addition on the top of genes is the epigenetics. So otherwise, it's a gap between the genotype and the phenotype. The genotype, single genotype will present with so many phenotypes, maybe 200 phenotypes. So all of us are having the same genetic information, but everyone is having our different attitudes, the things, how we go through the life, everything is different. The way how we lead our life has an impact on our future, not only our health, at the same time the next generations coming up across. So in this concept, I have gone to this, I have chosen this topic. It's not moving why. So okay, yeah. So researchers did, I said it is the link, the bridge between the genotype and the phenotype. So researchers have come across how this concept of epigenetics has come into picture is they have done epidemiologists also, they did a lot of research, and then the researchers, and they have gone to this agouti mouse model. Agouti mouse is a subtype of a mice where it is having a, you see this is having a yellow fur, fatty one which is having a yellow fur. So it is not moving now. So when this mouse was fed with normal diet, mouse diet, it has given to all the offspring with yellow fur. This yellow fur is not the one which is fatty, and at the same time because of fat it will have all the consequences in the life, like which is more prone for diabetes. And when it is fed with a diet rich in the folic acid, methionine supplements, then they got the offspring which are having a black color coat and at the same time lean, where they are not prone for the diabetes. And they have done the epidemiologists also have done the study in the twins. The identical twins, even though they are identical, their circumstance, how they are being succumb to the different types of diseases. So some of them they succumb to cancers, and some of them they are having Alzheimer's, or some of them may be having a mitochondrial, the other identical twin may die because of the cardiovascular problem. So what is happening here? In fact, in spite of them having the same genetic component, the DNA component, they are having the different outcomes. This here it is some of the genes which are going to be active, and some of these genes are going to be suppressed. So that is the reason why this there is a difference in the identical twins also. And in fact, the genetics is a roadmap for us. We are traveling in a car. The thing we are the human body is a car. So we are going on a roadmap. So you get the signals where to take a right turn or left turn, so where to stop. So these are all the signboards. So these signboards are nothing but our epigenomes, which are giving the directions. So like when and how and where this gene to be switched on or switched off. So like that the phenotype is going to be expressed. Right. Then sometimes you may get stuck in a traffic jam. The traffic jam where you get stressed, and in the case of anyone who gets stuck in the traffic jam, you take a turn and go up. So you want to have it under road. So that is the one. Suppose when you get a stress, you have to follow the other stress busting things where you have to inculcate it to your life, like our yoga, meditation, other things. With this, you can overcome this sort of stress. I'm going to, because of the little time, I'll just give the overall view how this epigenetics is influencing our life and and more specifically our women's life to empower and enrich her health. So the objective of my talk is the genetics which is beyond our DNA and the mechanisms how this epigenetics will influence us, and then what are the different epigenetic modulations and what about its impact on the woman's health, and there are so many diagnostic methods how to diagnose these epigenetic modifications, and then the future perspectives. So as I said earlier itself, so genes, they are fixed, you cannot change. But the epigenetics is a one which is heritable, but at the same time you can reverse it. So that is the advantage. So where we have to sensitize our women regarding these epigenetic modulations to empower and also enlighten their health. So these are all some of the questions which still needs to be addressed. So there are the genes make the proteins. All of you know that the genetic information is transferred from the DNA, RNA, and ultimately the proteins which are going to exhibit the specific desired function. Then how the genotype gives rise to the phenotype, how the characteristics are inherited across cell organisms, and the modern version of our nature versus nurture. The nature is our genetic makeup, and the nurture is the environment where we live, the lifestyle which we choose to live. So these are all the things. So in fact, the epigenetics means, the literal definition of epigenetics is the mitotically, meiotically heritable changes in the gene function without altering the DNA sequence. That is a little meaning or little definition of the epigenetics. And how these epigenetics are being carried out. There are different mechanisms. So these mechanisms, in fact, there are four main mechanisms which all control our genes. Maybe genes may be switched on or switched off, where, when, and how they have to give their exhibit their function. Is all depending upon these things. So the first and main, the most important function, which is a more prevalent at the same time very stable modification or the alteration, is the DNA methylation. So DNA methylation, this occurs in the cytosine component of the DNA nucleotide, and this is being carried out by the enzymes like DNA methyltransferases. There are different things are there, 1, 2, 3, 3A, 3B. So these are all responsible for maintaining the de novo methylation or for maintenance of the methylation which has already occurred. So this, the ultimate effect of DNA methylation is it makes the genes silent. So whenever it's methylated, the particular gene is silenced. And then the other thing here is the other one is the histone modifications. You know, in the DNA strand there is histone proteins are there around which the DNA is wound round. So these proteins, histone proteins, are the octamers which are going to be influenced by our epigenetics. So these histones are being, this chemical structure is being, the mechanism underlying this is the histone acetylation, deacetylation, ubiquitination, the phosphorylation and methylation. These are also going to be carried out by the different enzymes like histone deacetylases and histone acetylase, these things. And whenever this chromatin is open, then the gene will be active. That will transmit the desired function. Whenever the chromatin is closed, then the gene will be suppressed. The another one is a non-coding RNA. Non-coding RNA system is very, very crucial for shaping the cell function. And then another one is imprinting disorders. These imprinting disorders are of more importance when you are dealing with the cases of ART. So when this gene imprinting disorders are there, especially they get activated during our ART procedures, leading to the gene imprinting disorders like Prader-Willi syndrome, Beckman-Friedel syndrome. These are all the different things. And these are all the different mechanisms, epigenetic mechanisms. In short, as I told, this is the gene which becomes active and then inactive, the enzymes which are carrying out these functions. And now coming to these epigenetic mechanisms, they are spontaneous or induced. The spontaneous, they are going out in our body. So these epigenetic modifications will occur even in utero. These epigenetics are going to be very active in the rapidly dividing cells. The rapidly dividing cells are during the process of gametogenesis, that is which are occurring in utero, and also the embryogenesis, which is very active. So here it is the arithmetic representation, how the gene is going to be methylated. The primordial germ cells starts even in the primordial germ cell, and then the oocyte, how it is going to be affected. The zygote, first is the demethylation and remethylation, again the demethylation, like that. So because this is the introductory part where I have to take a little more time for you to understand. And what are the functions? I told earlier itself, it regulates the gene functions. In short, it is a diagrammatic representation where the environmental factors are influencing the genetic modulations. The environmental where we live, the toxins where we are exposed, the diet, exercise, our habits, all will have an influence on this epigenetic modifications, which ultimately lead to the behavioral changes, our longevity, our succumbance to other diseases, and this is susceptibility. Then coming to the effect of this on the reproductive health. So reproductive health is every part of the woman's reproductive health is going to be affected by the epigenetics. Starting from the menarche to the menopause, and also the more prone for the malignancies. Apart from this, the pregnancy complications are also going to be more, and everything is related again on the this underlying mechanisms of the demethylation, acetylation, RNA, RNA, there's non-coding RNA, gene imprinting disorders, all these things. So I have no time to go through all the things, but just throw a light how this is going to affect the puberty. Puberty, onset of puberty is because all of us are now aware. From 1919 onwards, the kisspeptin is one which has come into vogue and which is influencing the onset of puberty, and at the same time the fertility is going to be affected in this. This kisspeptin is a regulatory protein which is again controlled by the KIS gene, which gets methylated and exhibits its effects and is essential for the onset of the puberty. Now coming to the menstrual cycle regulation. So this is most important, and most of us know that, all of us being gynaes, we know that this is influenced by the hormones, HPO axis. But hormones, how these are being regulated again. This hormonal synthesis, its secretion, as well as the receptor selectivity is again dependent upon our this epigenetics, how they get methylated, demethylated, and nowadays the PCOS, the premature ovarian insufficiency, everything is related to this, and most of the times endometriosis, which is a chronic debilitating illness which impacts the woman's health, not only health and leads to infertility and so many problems. Ultimately, they may succumb to the endometrial malignancy also. This is also having an underlying problem of the epigenetics, how the epigenetics are going to be influenced. Then coming to the fertility. The fertility is can also be improved. So this is the one where there is in fact in ART, where you are manipulating the gametes, that the manipulations, your culture media, your temperature, how you are manipulating, your freeze thawing, everything will alter the epigenomes of the gametes and ultimately lead to the problems. Then coming to the pregnancy and pregnancy complications, this is the more important thing. This is the reason why the health of the woman is have an effect on the future generations also. So about the diet, what she takes. These are also, there are so many epidemiological studies in the famine. The Dutch famine is the one we know during the Second World War time. The women were deprived of the calories, and they have given the children. These things were studied over a period of 10 years. They come out that these children are more prone for the metabolic disorders like cardiovascular problems, diabetes, and so on and so forth. So that's the one, and especially this seasonal diets, low protein diet, high fat diet, everyone has an influence. And all of us are aware of the folic acid supplementation. The folic acid supplementation is one of the methyl donors. As earlier I said, so methylation is one of the most important process. And if these methyl donors are not there, then there is a gene which is responsible for closure of the neural tube is going to be suppressed. So the woman will get the problems of neurological defects. That is the impact of the folic acid supplementation. The EFFORTS trial is there, which has given what is the role of the folic acid in this. And then the maternal and the paternal genetic background is also more important. In fact, this epigenetics will influence the spermatogenesis also. The quality of the sperms, the DNA fragmentation, everything is going to be affected. Then coming to the maternal lifestyle and the exposure to the environmental factors such as smoking habits will also have an impact. So all this will lead to the alteration in the epigenetics of the embryo. This will ultimately get the child or offspring with all the complications of the metabolic problems. Then in short, the epigenetics has a role in the implantation of the embryo also, where there is the oxygen is the one which all of us are aware as a gynecologist and fertility specialist. This is going to be active, and demethylation of this oxygen will make the endometrium not receptive, leading to the recurrent miscarriages and recurrent implantation failures. This is another similar to that of Barker's hypothesis, the Lockheed hypothesis, and now this is the one where I want to stress upon. This transgenerational epigenetic inheritance is the one. The epigenetics is also inheritable, but it's reversible. That is the advantage of the epigenetics. When you compare to the genetics what you used to get is heritable, and then all the problems will be there unless the gene undergoes any other mutations. Then transgenerational, and why I am talking, stressing on this is the woman who is pregnant for the first time, she is exposed to the often any problems, and if there is any genetic alterations are there, the first generation is going to skip because the gametogenesis is going to occur in proper that baby. And the first generation baby will have the gonads which have undergone the epigenetic transformation or epigenetic modulations and alterations. This will have an impact on the second generation. So the transgenerational transfer of the epigenetic modulations is the one. These offspring will suffer with all the problems of metabolic problems. And in fact, it is a recurrent mole. The epigenetics is also taking a part here, and in the partial and complete mole. So where we have to stress on this the epigenetics here. And in fact, even the applause also has a role. This epigenetics has a role. And now coming to the aneuploidies, some of the aneuploids, trisomy 21, they are going to be, some of them will be delivered with the Down syndrome, some of them are going to be aborted. What is the reason here? Here is again the DNA methylation of the trisomy 21 chromosome, which is underlying this. And so also Turner syndrome, the mosaics are going only to be born, and the 45X0, the real donors, they are going to abort. What is the underlying mechanism here? And the role of folic acid I have gone through already. The malignancy is the one. In fact, the malignancy, we are all aware of that HPV relating to the cervical carcinoma. And apart from this, even the chlamydia trachomatis is also responsible for the cervical malignancy. There are also the studies are coming out where the effect of the chlamydia trachomatis and onset of cervical malignancy. Then this is all the environmental factors where we are living, chemicals, industrial chemical waste, bisphenols, and some of them are the endocrine disruptors. The endocrine disruptors means the exogenous chemicals which alter the endocrine milieu. So they like the phthalates, bisphenols, they are all like the xenoestrogens. They mimic the estrogens and they lead to the other consequences. And the pesticides where we are exposed, the particulate matter which is there in the air is also have an impact. And how to diagnose these epigenetic problems? There are so many tests, the PCR, the FISH, the microarray techniques, and next generation sequencing, and Western blot, so many other tests are there. And then the commonly studied genes, the target genes, all of us are aware that the insulin-like growth factor gene which is giving study. Then future perspective, what is the future of this epigenetics? This has a long future, and wherein we can use it as a biomarkers to diagnose particular disease and prognosticate the disease. This is the one, and also as a therapeutic agent. This epigenetic modulation, what I said, it is the histone reacetylation and inhibitors, which are being used nowadays for treating the malignancies. And apart from this, the paclitaxel resistant ovarian malignancies are also being treated with this things. And in future, we will have a lot of things which will come into are related to the epigenetics. In conclude, so the way how we live will have an impact on our future. And not only our future, it will influence our generation. So we can positively influence our epigenome by just the way how we live. That's the one. And what we see is the tip of the iceberg, and that's not to be, you have to explore a lot. Then I want to conclude here saying that with the gynaes and obstetricians, we are having a lot of stress. We face a lot of stress, especially when we come across any hemorrhages and we're late in the midnight. and you have to rush. So that is our professional thing. We cannot avoid most of the times. At least to a certain extent, your stress you can lessen. But what I want to give a suggestion to all the young gynecologists is you should inculcate the things to buzz or to overcome that stress by following the lifestyle changes. That's more important because what we are today is not our health. It's influencing the health of our future generations, grand and grandchildren. So the health is wealth. So that's most important. And young, healthy adults are needed for the incredible India. This is I thank with this and my acknowledgements to my residents who are very helpful in making what I did is the thing. And they have given a shape to this. Otherwise, the phenotypic alterations, other things, what they did for my slides in my residents. Thank you. So your DNA is not your destiny. Something about that is your destiny. Where you have to have an idea to have effect on the epigenomes to save our life at the same time the future generations. Thanks a lot. Topic where you can instead of E3 you can make it as a E5. The epigenetics and environment which will have an impact on our future the woman. So sensitize the woman on this aspect so that we can improve their and enlighten, empower their health. So thank you a lot.
Thank you very much.